What's up, Night Owl? Steely here, back with another video, and today we're going to be having a look at the incredibly powerful Strixhaven Unearthed Arcana. So if you're unfamiliar with Unearthed Arcana, it is Wizards of the Coast way of playtesting material before it gets published into a final product. And as some of you may know, I am a huge fan of the Unearthed Arcana stuff and playtesting their new material. I allow it in all of my games. I love seeing how it works and giving feedback. I think that's really cool. And yesterday they released a new Unearthed Arcana for the upcoming Strixhaven campaign setting, which is a Magic the Gathering D&D crossover. And I actually did a live stream where I went through each of the new subclasses and sort of gave my thoughts on it. I thought I would condense this down into a smaller video, just kind of go quickly over like some of what I think is like the super powerful stuff, and then some of the things that I think needs work. I'll leave a link to that live stream down in the description. So this new Strixhaven Unearthed Arcana released 5 subclasses, and they added a unique mechanic to Dungeons & Dragons where multiple classes can choose from the same subclass. And whatever your base class is determines what level you get the features for the subclass. I'll give you an example. The Mage of Lorehold subclass is available to Bard, Wizard, and Warlock. And as you probably know, Warlock gets their subclass at level 1, Wizards at level 2, and Bards at level 3. Each of these classes is going to get the same feature, it's just going to be at a different level. I hope that makes sense. And while we're talking about the Mage of Lorehold subclass, I want to address something that I think needs to be changed right away. I think is way too powerful for a first level character. So the Mage of Lorehold's first level feature is called Ancient Companion, and a Warlock can take this class at level 1, as I just mentioned. This Ancient Companion pet is really strong for a first level character. Its hit points are 5 plus 5 times level, so it would have 10 hit points coming into the game, which is around the exact same as a regular class would. It can hit for a D8 plus 4, which is pretty decent, and it has an AC of 14. This pet is basically a first level character. And keep in mind that this is a subclass feature that can be commanded with a bonus action. So you get all the benefits of being a Warlock at level 1 and this Ancient Companion. And I haven't even mentioned the ability options for the Ancient Companion. If you choose Warrior, it gets plus 2 AC and it can use its reaction to increase your dex saves. If you choose Healer, it can use its action to instead heal or give temporary hit points to somebody, a D8 plus proficiency, rather than attack. This is really strong for a first level character, and I think that this puts a Lorehold Warlock at like the top of a first level character, like the strongest a first level character can be, just because they have a pet that they can command with a bonus action that's really strong, that's effectively a level 1 monk, plus their own abilities. I do think that this balances out at later levels though. At 6th, you get to improve on the type of spirit that you chose, which is Healer, Warrior, or Sage. Most notably the Warrior, which allows you to follow up a cantrip with a weapon attack, and you can add a D8 to that weapon attack. The level 10 Lorehold isn't as interesting. Whenever you do damage to something, you can give them vulnerability. And at level 14, you get a Chronal Chaos form, which lets you choose luck, resistance, or swiftness, and you get some cool abilities with those. Now, Lorehold is strong, and coming into the game as a level 1 Warlock with a companion is really good. But I think the overall strongest school is Silverquill. Silverquill is also available to Bard, Warlock, and Wizard, and it has some potent abilities. At level 1, you get Eloquent Apprentice, you can choose Vicious Mockery or Sacred Flame, and you get some skill proficiencies, big deal. The big one is Silvery Barbs. Immediately after, a creature you can see within 60 feet of you succeeds on an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. That part's important, succeeds. You can use your reaction to demoralize them. Unless they are immune to being charmed, you can re-roll the d20 and take the lower roll. If that lower roll that they take fails, you get to empower somebody else, which lets them re-roll an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw within 1 minute. Once you cause a creature to fail a check, you can't use this ability again until you finish a long rest or until you expend a spell slot. This ability is so good. Not only can you take away enemy crits, but you could give re-rolls to other people while you do it. At level 6, you get Inky Shroud, which gives you the darkness spell. It also gives you a once per long rest improved darkness is what I'll call it. When you cast the spell in this way, you can see normally through the darkness created, and when a creature starts its turn in the darkness, you can deal 2d10 psychic to it. There's no save. They just take 2d10 psychic damage from your darkness that you can see through. And it doesn't stop there. At level 10, they get Infusion of Eloquence. This feature allows you to change the damage type of your damaging spells to Radiant or Psychic. And any creature, not just one, any creature damaged by this spell, or like a radiant fireball, will take increased damage and they will get an effect placed on them depending on radiant or psychic. If you choose psychic, then they're frightened of you until your next turn. And if you choose radiant, they're charmed by you until their next turn. And just like before, there's no save. You can walk into a room and radiant fireball. Anything damaged by it will be charmed by you. At level 14, the Mage of Silverquill gets Word of Power. This feature allows them to choose Deadly Despair or Selfless Invocation. Deadly Despair makes that level 1 Silvery Barb feature give vulnerability when they fail a roll, and Selfless Invocation allows you to use your reaction to share the damage that somebody takes. In my opinion, everything about the Mage of Silverquill is just good, and everything improves upon each other. This is such a powerful subclass. Moving on to my favorite of the new subclasses, we have the Mage of Witherbloom, which is available to Druids and Warlocks. At level 1, you get the Witherbloom spells, which gives you Spare the Dying, Cure Wounds, and Inflict Wounds, which is really good. And you also have the level up spells, which has Revivify on that list. Also at level 1, you get Essence Tap, which allows you to choose Overgrowth or Withering Touch. Overgrowth allows you to spend hit die and heal yourself over turns, and Withering Touch allows you to change your damage type to Necrotic. At level 6, you get Witherbloom Brew, which allows you to create unique flasks at the beginning of every day. There's 3 brews: Fortifying, Quickening, and Toxifying. If they drink Fortifying, they get resistance to a damage type. If they drink Quickening, they get a heal and you can remove a status effect. And Toxifying allows you to coat a weapon with poison. At level 10, you get Witherbloom Adept. This one's simple. You get to add your proficiency to damage and healing of your spells. At level 14, you get Withering Vortex, which allows you to move some of the damage that you deal to creatures and heal other people with it, draining the life out of them. In my opinion, the Mage of Prismari is probably the weakest of these new subclasses. At first level, you get 2 skill proficiencies and you can dash as a bonus action a number of times equal to your proficiency per long rest. When you dash in this way, you can choose fire, lightning, or ice, and you get an effect based on which one you choose. Ice, you knock them prone. Fire, you do damage. And lightning, you can move through other creatures' squares and you don't provoke. The level 6 ability is the one that I'm a little iffy about, and it's called Favored Medium. You get to choose a damage type once per long rest, and when you do damage with that damage type, you can give people resistance around you to that damage type. The reason I find this ability odd, I don't necessarily think it's weak or bad. I just think it's odd that you are effectively giving resistance to the damage that you're doing, which means you're doing the same type of damage as the thing you're fighting. And that seems kind of weird. Most things that do, or at least a lot of things that do damage, do a specific damage type, have resistance to that damage type. Like imagine fighting a fire elemental and you choose fire. Okay, I'm going to give my party fire resistance, but I'm also doing fire damage, which they're resistant to. So I don't know. This is kind of a weird ability. I realize that it's not going to be, that it is going to be a case by case, but I don't know. Not a fan of Favored Medium, to be honest. At level 10, you improve upon the damage type that you chose from Favored Medium. And again, you can change this every long rest. If you chose cold, you can do extra cold damage, and you will slow the target by 10 feet. If you chose fire, you do extra fire damage, and you can give somebody temporary hit points. And if you chose lightning, you can take away the reactions. At level 14 is when you get the really good class feature. And this is the only class feature that I saw that the Prismari got that I was like, this is pretty awesome. And it's called Impeccable Physicality. If you roll a 9 or lower on a dexterity saving throw, you can treat it as a 10. Simple, but wow, that's really good. And finally, we have the Mage of Quandrix, which I don't think is bad, but it's just kind of meh. At level 1, you get spells, guidance, and guiding bolt. And as you level up, they have some unique spells, including haste, freedom of movement, spike growth, and aura of vitality. Some really good spells on this spell list. Great for a sorcerer to kind of increase their decent spell count. The other first level ability is called Functions of Probability, and this is kind of going to be your bread and butter. Whenever you expend a spell slot, you can give somebody a d6 to add to an attack roll or saving throw, or you can take away a d6 on somebody's attack roll. The level 6 ability is called Velocity Shift, and I think this one may require some work. You let me know in the comments. This one says that whenever a creature that you can see starts its turn within 30 feet of you or moves within 30 feet of you, you can use your reaction to teleport them. Now they do get a charisma save, but if they fail, you get to choose an unoccupied space within 30 feet. This is a pretty cool ability, and I'm pretty sure the way it's worded, you could teleport them 30 feet in the air and cause them to take 30 feet of fall damage. Overall, I like how unique this ability is. I love the idea of like teleporting their back line to your front line. there's definitely some fun stories to be had from this particular ability. At level 10, you can apply a debuff to creatures that you damage, causing them to have disadvantage on dex and strength saves, and also causing their weapon attacks to do half damage. At level 14, you get Quantum Tunneling, which gives you resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing, and it also allows you to move through creatures' squares, but you take damage whenever you do. Now, the ability says creatures and objects. I'm assuming you can walk through walls with this ability. Let me know in the comments. I'm unsure about this, but this is a level 14 ability, so it's pretty powerful. And that D10, that D10 force damage that you take when you move through is pretty costly. So I'm imagining that you can just walk through walls with this one. A wall is an object, right? So that's it for the new Strixhaven Unearthed Arcana and where I think the power lies in this playtest material. Let me know in the comments below. Is Silverquill as amazing as I think it is? Is that first level Ancient Companion too good and needs to be fixed? Tell me what you think of the velocity shift. Let me know in the comments what you think of this stuff. And if you want to be a part of this D&D community, make sure you join the Discord. Link is in the description. Come by, ask questions. Let me know what you think. And as always, I'll see you at sundown.